Let's answer some questions. Where are you at right now?
I am in Cape Cod. Uh was out on Martha's Vineyard today. I went out to the island, took a ferry out there. Um we're here one more day and then we're gonna go to Vermont for 2 days and then New Hampshire for like wow, we're gonna go up there for my oldest son's birthday. That so everywhere we've been, yeah, that was his favorite place that we've been over the past couple years. And so we're going our final like 5 days are gonna be in New Hampshire. It is I've told people, I really appreciate the outdoors. I'm a hunter, I'm a fisherman, I'm into all that stuff. And I live right next to West Virginia, one of the most beautiful landscapes in the country. But there's something about New Hampshire, and what I say is that's the least touched by man place I've ever been. Like
Good.
it's just not been fucked with. It's just perfect. Like it's perfectly what it was supposed to be, what it's been forever, and you go out west and you get into the desert and that's not been touched by man, but it's not that beautiful. Like some of it is,
Yeah.
but a lot of it's just kind of ugly. But like this is everything that it's supposed to be, and it's perfect. So we're gonna go up there for like 5 days and then we'll head. So then we'll be home. We're actually home for like 6 weeks. So, but this is our long trip, and then we stay home for a long time. So
Yeah. Nice. Um,
the whole East Coast is
yes.
just awesome. The
Yeah.
northern East Coast, it's great. We were in Rhode Island the other day. We just like a couple days in each place, and it's worth taking it in.
Yeah.
It's a great trip.
Yeah. I need to work my way up the East Coast. Are you inside or is it just that dark there?
No, I'm outside. No, it's freaking dark out, dude. Like, yeah, I don't know what.
Wait, why is it so
It's
dark?
just
It's
getting
like not dark here and we're in the same time zone. Is it
dude.
like a
It's
northern,
dark.
is it the more north you go, like the maybe it gets darker sooner?
Well, I thought the more north you went in the summertime, the more light it stayed. Because I was in like mid Michigan a month or so ago,
Yeah.
and dude, it was daylight to like 10:30. Like,
Huh.
you know, but
Yeah,
no,
it's
it's
only
dark as
8:30.
shit.
Oh wow.
I don't know why. Yeah,
That's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's getting dark here, but it's not that dark.
I thought I brought my little ring light, but no, I didn't. So I got the computer screen brightness on full, blinding me.
All right. Let's start with a sales question. Um, what? Oh man, that's a deep one to start with. How can I set up a referral program that actually works for my roofing
Mm.
business?
I just answered. So for you, those of you that don't know, I have been off Facebook for a long time, and I actually just answered this question to somebody on Facebook yesterday. Um, I just don't think they work that well unless they're very, very heavily incentivized. I mean, we did one for a long time that was like $250, and we always kind of thought like, man, if you're not doing anything and you know people that might be looking for a roof or you don't mind sharing our posts from time to time and sending business our way, that $250 was enough incentive to get people to do that. And it's just not like it we literally, I mean, we might have let that run for like over a year. I think we got one lead off of it, like one that was like recordable. We ended up going to like $500. And even then, I think now we did that through a rehash campaign with ProLine. We ran a sort of a rehash that was to push, referrals, and we ran it with $500 referral pay. We did close two jobs. I wrote two $500 checks off of that. So I mean, it worked, but to do it, I mean that was I sent that to 2,500 people and I got 2 jobs. So to say that to run an ongoing, referral program, I just feel like, and we work really hard to maintain that reputation, build the relationship with a customer. I just feel like people they don't talk about these things. They don't talk to their friends about, oh yeah, Rain Stoppers put a new roof on for me. They're fantastic. Are you looking for one? That conversation just doesn't happen. So referrals are done through social media. They're done through social channels, and they're not recordable. You just have to make the impression and make it last to where you get a share every once in a while, or where you stay top of mind through social networks. So, uh, yeah, I don't have any luck with it. Somebody else does. I'd love to hear about it. We've tried multiple things with very little success.
Yeah. Yeah. This is why we do that in ProLine. We have that referral campaign that just over time, as you complete jobs, it's just periodically following up for a couple of years, asking for referrals. And if you get enough people in there, it's gonna bring the referrals to the surface, any that are there. But
Yep.
like you're saying, it's not a lot. And it's the key is to spend as little effort as possible trying to queue that up. So if you can set it up where it just happens automatically, then that's 2 extra jobs, right? That's nice. If you didn't have to
Right.
do anything for it
Sure.
other than just pay out, the $500 or whatever. But
Yes.
yeah, but it,
No,
it
that's the
kind of
thing. If you're
sucks if you spend a bunch of time like putting together the list and then like moving everything around and writing a campaign. That's kind of sucks.
well, and the trouble too is, you see these guys, putting their head down and really, really trying to come up with a good process to do it. And I just don't think that there's much value in that. Like you said, if you've got just a real basic campaign that's it's just a drip campaign, like you say, last 2 years, maybe sends a text every couple months or whatever. And hopefully they've got a sister or an in-law or somebody that's looking for a roof, and maybe that text hits at the right time where you get referred, and you got no effort in it. But to sit down and put a whole lot of effort into a referral program, I just don't think it's going to pay you back.
Right. Right. Makes sense. All right. What are the key factors to consider when choosing a roofing supplier?
Oh man, just use ABC. We can't complain at all. But they've got tons of trucks for delivery. Their rebate programs are fantastic. I make a ton of money on rebates. If I shop them around, they always, will get as competitive as possible or beat whatever I can find. They're just those are the things I look for, and they check all the boxes. I look for who's going to treat me the best as far as rebates and deliveries and scheduling, and then pricing. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's Beacon, ABC, SRS. They all sell shingles. I mean, obviously, you want to go with the one that sells the brand you install. But the reason we're at GAF installer is because that's what our ABC pushes. So I picked ABC before I picked GAF. I'm a big GAF advocate after being with them, but everybody has a good shingle today. All manufacturers make a quality. I won't say all, but all the big ones make a quality product today. I don't have to work with GAF on a daily basis. My guys don't work with the GAF rep on a daily basis. We work with ABC every day, multiple times a day. So, that's the relationship that needs to be really, really well sought out. Find someone that you can work with, and it's going to treat your company good.
Oh, makes sense. Makes sense. Have you have you worked with other suppliers in the past other than ABC and had other
Oh
experience?
yeah, oh yeah, we get hit up by everybody. We get hit up by everybody. And actually, funny story, because everything's been so cutthroat here lately, and this has been maybe a month ago. I know the SRS opened up close to us, and I know about the program with what's the company called that does the extra rebate on SRS products?
Oh yeah.
John works with them.
Is it roofing.com maybe?
No, my gosh, it's right on the tip of my tongue too. Anyway, there's it's a third party where the group buying package, limitless group.
Limitless.
So Limitless works with SRS and gives additional rebates. So I thought, well, the volume that we buy, a 1% rebate is somewhat significant. So I thought, well, let's get a price from them. I explained to them the amount I purchased from ABC last year. We're the biggest buyer out of that store. I mean, honestly, in residential roofing material, we're probably the biggest buyer in the area. Told them what our sales were, told them what we were looking to do. They never even gave me a quote. Like I told them I needed to see a price sheet to see if it was competitive enough to have a further discussion. That's where it ended.
Hmm.
You know, so yeah, I
It
mean, I
was
get that,
intentional?
but
You think that was intentional? Like they couldn't handle it? Or
I don't know. All I know is we don't have any interest in doing business with them if they can't at least give us a freaking price. And that, that's how homeowners should feel too. I
yeah.
look at my guys' texts all the time from, their ProLine accounts. And I'll see these homeowners. Well, I'm still waiting on those two quotes I told you about 2 weeks ago. What the fuck are you still waiting for? Like, why are you still waiting? You, if they can't get you a quote in 2 weeks,
How are they gonna do your
what do
job?
you think it's going to be like working with these people? Like, it's a roof. It's a roof replacement. Like, I could literally, I don't, thank God for ProLine. Like, I'm not saying we don't use it to its fullest extent. I used to quote on a piece of notebook paper. I would get on a roof, measure it, and I could write that quote in 5 minutes. It literally took no time at all. And these guys are taking 2 weeks to get a quote to somebody. It's like, so, I look at that as in that aspect too. I mean, if you can't get me a price, whether whether it's intentional or not, I'm moving. Like they could send me one today, and I'll just probably delete the email. I don't care. It's you missed your spot.
Yep. Um, yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. For those joining us, if you have questions, please do put those in the Q&A and we'll address those. Otherwise, we're just going through our list of questions. All right. What do you guys do? How do you guys handle obviously you have the inspection before you quote the roof, but do you guys also
Right.
do inspections before and after the job as well? Do you do other inspections throughout the process, or is it just the first
Yeah.
inspection? How does that work for you guys?
So I mean, to me, it's an ongoing inspection. From the time we quote the job. So our process from when we do our first inspection is we show up. We've already got a quote built for the customer. We've pulled an aerial report or generated our own. We've built a quote. We go do an inspection. We meet with the customer, make sure that there wasn't something that changed or they wanted to add a vent or do this or make sure there's nothing that come up. We go verify our quote is good or edit to suit the customer. We print the quote, email the quote, hand the customer the printed copy, go through it with them to explain what they're getting charged. But if they sign right then, or wherever, as soon as we start the job, there's pictures being taken. We set a catch-all up on every project. The first pictures my guys are required to take are of the catch-all being set up because that just forces them to set it up because they hate setting it up. They don't hate it, but you know how labor guys are. Labor guys want to get their job done. Like they want to get up there, get it off, and I want the ground kept clean. So it forces their hand to set that up. So, and then they take pictures through the entire job. So we have full inspection report of the progress. And then when it's done, either that evening or the very next day, we do a final inspection of whatever the finished product is. And then we give the customer, all the photo documentation of what it looks like. So yeah, we don't take our eyes off of the job site from start to finish. We document all of it and make sure that everything's done the way it's supposed to be done.
Yep, makes sense. And then does that also happen at the end of the job as well? Do you do like walkarounds with the customer, or how do you handle
The
after
the
job
the, fi-
inspections?
the final so the final, because we take no deposits, right? So the final is done. The goal is to do it with the homeowner. And the reason we do that is we can walk around the ground. If there's damaged flower, anything that could be addressed while we're there, or a bent gutter, any complaints that could be brought up, they can be brought up at that time, and then we can fix it. But we also do that because we want paid. So, it's not a tail light warranty. We did the entire job for you at no expense to you. And our contract says it's paid at completion. So we try to schedule our final inspection with the homeowner being home to where we can walk through it. They say it looks great, no complaints, hand us a check, we move on. Now, if they find something that's wrong, sure, it happens, a callback, but that eliminates a lot of callbacks. Is we're walking it together looking for any issues. But there's always times where they we damaged a downspout that didn't get caught in the walkthrough. It was behind a shrub or something, or whatever. We knocked it loose with a ladder at some point. Nobody fixed it. There's little things like that that just happen and don't get caught on that. But 95% of the time, anything that was an issue was caught.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense. All right. Any questions? We got any questions? Nope. All right. So let me go back to our list. What's on the marketing side? How important is it for a website, for a roofing business's website, to be mobile optimized?
That's a good question. I would assume it's very important, considering, I get my laptop out for these meetings. That's about all I get it out for. I literally run my entire business. The only thing in ProLine that I actually get on my computer to see, and I usually check it each morning, is our reporting. Outside of that, I run a fairly significant business from my iPhone. So, if I'm doing all of that from an iPhone, I'm pretty sure most people, you know, do most of their research and their scrolling and their, investigating of what they're buying or this, that, or the other from their phone. So, if you want them to be able to utilize the tools on your website, like an instant estimator or a form fill page or anything like that, or even read, testimonial type stuff, I think you definitely want it to be mobile optimized to where, they can use it just the same.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I would agree with that. And most websites are going to be mobile optimized. But you still have,
Sure.
it's still one of the things you got to check if you're getting a website built, or if you're building it yourself with like a website tool. You got to go look at that mobile view and make sure it looks good, because it's something that has to be done intentionally. If you don't pay attention to it and you just start putting stuff in and you don't pay attention to it, it can not look good on mobile. And like you're saying, like most people are not searching on the computer anymore. Most online traffic is now mobile traffic.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I don't use it, so I can't imagine. And I'm pretty old school, so
Yep.
you made me double check mine. I'm looking at it right now. It looks pretty good. I thought it was, but I'm like, man, I better not put my foot in my mouth. No, it looks good.
how can how can a company leverage data and analytics to improve their sales process?
You cut out for a minute. Can you say it again?
How can a company leverage data and analytics to improve the sales process?
Well, so for instance, we We actually just stopped running Facebook ads recently, and we Facebook gives you a bunch of data, but it doesn't give you the full picture. So we were getting a lot of leads. We spent about $10,000 on, I think it was about 105 leads, which, in today's market and for the price point of a roof job is not terrible. It's like $90 a lead or something like that. Well, to the, you know, untrained eye, that sounds like a good deal. So what we did was we cross-referenced every single Facebook lead, name, phone number, email, whatever we had from that lead. We cross-referenced that in ProLine and saw where that customer, the stage they made it to, if they received a quote, if they were where they were at in our CRM. What we found was, and this has been a month or so ago when we did this, but I want to say it was 4 out of all of those customers, 4 booked an appointment for an inspection. We never sold a single one. So we spent $10,000 at what we thought we were paying $90 a lead for. We were paying $10,000 for 4 inspections is what that amounted to. So, I mean, you really, really got to not just take for granted that, whatever marketing tool you're using is giving you all the information. Yeah, they were leads. I would tell you 30 of them were probably just spam. Like they weren't even real people. So, yeah, they put some bullshit information in, but I mean, when you looked at their email versus their name versus they're like, yeah, there's no way this is a real person. So yeah, I mean, you got to track that stuff. Now, here's the other catch to that is there's a lot of really great advertising methods that have, in my opinion, no real solid way to get data or analytics from, like billboards. We run billboard campaigns in all of our markets. We run radio campaigns in all of our markets. There's almost no good way to get significant data from that. We ask every customer, where'd you hear from us? Or where'd you hear about us first? We want to know, what, because that kind of triggers what was the interaction that made you call us. Nobody ever says the radio, but we know good and well because we can watch. So we watch our car. We go on the radio for 2 weeks, off for 2 weeks. We literally will watch our call volume spike as soon as we go back on the radio. So we know that it has effect. Like we know it does. There's no denying it because as soon as we go off, our call volume drops. But there's no real analytics to track that because we literally, everybody says it's from Google because they hear about us so much and then they search us on Google and dial us from there. So it's very seldom we get somebody to say, "Oh, I heard about you on the radio." It happens, but it's not accurate.
Yeah. So it's sometimes hard to track.
It's hard to track.
Yeah, that makes sense. New question here. What are the most common ways that roofing companies are unethical?
Here's what I think. So this is a funny question because I deal with this a lot locally. We've got a lot of good contractors in our area, but we've got a lot of shitty ones too. And I truly believe, and this is maybe the trusting side of me coming out, but I truly believe most contractors, the goal is not to be unethical, and the goal is not to do wrong. And I definitely did this at some times, would overpromise and underdeliver, and I didn't do it often, but I have caught myself in situations where that's happened, and in my opinion, it's at our fault of trying to do more than we can, right? Like, yeah, I'll do the roof for 10 grand and I can go ahead and throw the gutters in and I'll only charge you $500. Oh, you want leaf guards too? Well, you only got $200 left in your budget. I can probably squeeze that in. And then when you get going, it's like, shit, I don't have enough money to hardly buy these leaf guards. Now I gotta go get them done, but I'm gonna have to wait a week to do the leaf guards because I need to make some money somewhere else to go do the job. You know what I mean? So and that's just off my head a thought of how that happens. But I also think that there's some hacks out there that shouldn't be in the game. You know, you should be working for somebody. I mean, my I started doing this when I was 15 years old. You know, working in construction on residential new home builds. Um, so I've been in the game a long time, and I've swung the hammer for a long time, shot the nail gun, and ran the crew, and then did, you know. So I feel like there's a lot of guys that work for somebody for 6 months and think it looks easy, and then they go do it on their own, and they realize, oh shit, this is not nearly as easy as I thought. Not only am I not real well versed in these installation techniques, but the guys I'm hiring are even worse. You know, so but at the same time, I don't think it's done out of malice. I think it's done out of, you know, inexperience and you know, just not having it together enough yet. But I think customers can be part to blame in that. And you know, they need to take some responsibility. If you get a quote, we had a guy, we quoted a job, $14,000 job. The customer went with a guy that charged 6 grand. As a customer, have a little responsibility. Tell the poor guy, you know, he just started his business. You know that he's brand new to the game. Have a little bit of responsibility and say, hey, fella, you know, I've got 4 quotes here now. You're 50% of the next highest. You know, there was somebody that was like 12 grand. So we were getting beat either way. But that homeowner should take a little responsibility and say, you're not even close. Like that happened, and that's happened to me. And thank God somebody, great customer who ended up being probably one of my best customers ever, literally told me like we were building decks. We charged like 4 grand. The next best price they got was $9,000, and they told me. Now I did the job for him for 4 grand, but it was a real eye opener that because I lost money on it, rightfully so. But they explained to me, hey, you don't need to be this cheap. Nobody else is. Like you're not going to make it being this cheap. So I think homeowners have a little bit of responsibility in some of that too. I think that they take advantage of a bad situation.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a lot, but that's one I deal with on a daily basis in my community. Because there's just so many guys giving it a shot and that I know, you know, that I'm friends with. And I see them giving these cheap prices and then they get and they're great guys. Like they're good people. They're hardworking. They're quality guys, you know, and then they get a shitty name in the community because of 1 or 2 bad instances. And it's like, yeah, it sucks that that happened, but they didn't do it with bad intentions. They just got put in a bad spot. You know, here's the deal. They've got to eat too. Like even if it's just ramen noodles, they still got to eat the ramen noodles. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think that that also gives you a sign that you're probably doing the wrong occupation, you know, and eventually you need to bow out. But regardless, that's just how I kind of feel about it.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes sense. Makes sense.
There's shitheads out there though. There's shitheads out there though. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, I think more times than not, that's not always the case. Where we get such a bad rap, I don't always think it's I think most times it's not intentional.
Yeah. Yeah. Just get in a bad position.
Yeah.
Makes sense. All right. Let's move on here. Let me see. Any questions? Any questions? Nope. No questions here.
AJ, have you ever hired a contractor?
Personally?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I don't think I've ever had because I've never owned a home.
Gotcha. Oh yeah. Atlanta. Yeah. Makes
I've always
sense.
rented. Um,
Yeah.
you know, I actually I have when I rented a house, I had to hire someone for HVAC, I think, to come in and work on the HVAC. and the landlord reimbursed me. And
Gotcha. Must have
that's
been a
the
good
only.
experience if it doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, it was fine. It went fine. So
And right there is why referrals don't work. Because you hired an HVAC guy, you couldn't even hardly remember having to hire him. And he did you a
yeah,
fantastic job because you know how I know he did a fantastic job? Because you ain't bitching, you know?
yeah.
So it's
You
like,
know, I don't remember.
and that's the key.
Yeah, yeah. That is the thing. Is like
That
you do a
if
good
you
job.
don't hear from the customer, you did a good job. Because most times the only people that will speak your name are the ones that are wanting to speak ill of it, not the
Yeah,
people that want to praise you. That's the world we live in. People don't praise each other anymore. That's just the world we're in.
right, right. That's the thing. Like part of what they're paying you for is to forget about you. They want to pay
Yeah,
you and forget about you. Go back
that's
to just,
exactly right.
especially with their roof. They want to go back to not thinking about the roof.
Exactly. They're just glad it's fucking over with and they can move on. And
Yeah.
that's all they want to do. Move on.
Right. Right. Um. All right. What is the most cost-effective way to dispose of old roofing materials or like
Dig a hole in the
discard
back of the yard and bury them.
it? Dig a deep hole.
You'd be surprised how many people I know that do that shit.
Really?
No, that's not the. Oh, yeah. I live in the middle of nowhere,
Contractors?
dude. Fuck yeah. You ain't got to try real hard to find a good hole out back, dump that in, use it for fill. That's what they just call it, fill.
Yeah.
And then once they've got their big ravine filled in, they just take some dirt, cover that shit up, and that's now it's flat. It's not a ravine anymore. So you'd be surprised. I mean, we never do that because if we ever got caught, they'd hang us for it. I'm talking guys that do a roof every couple of weeks. But
Yeah.
um, no, I mean, we don't have an option where I'm at. That's unfortunate. There's no recycling where I'm at. The closest recycling yard to me is like 2.5 hours,
Well,
and I mean, just logistically doesn't make sense. I mean, you can't figure that out and make it work. Plus, the cost is just too much. But we have to take everything to the landfill. So everything that goes in our trailers goes straight to the landfill. Luckily, there's a landfill about half hour from our shop, so it's not too far. Um, but yeah, I mean that you don't get much option. I know that they're working hard to put in more recycling centers for shingles because I mean it's one of them. I mean construction debris in general is I think the biggest landfill filler, but I think asphalt roofing material is like number one if I'm not mistaken. I think it's number one for other than household garbage. I think it's number one. So they're working. I know they're working in a lot of the bigger cities to try to implement these recycling centers. Um, but there's just nothing even close to where I'm at, where it's feasible.
what do you even
And I don't know what they charge, so I can't even speak to the cost of it. If there was one in my backyard, I wouldn't even know what it costs. I don't know if they charge you something. I assume they charge you something,
yeah.
but yeah,
What are they recycling it back into? Rubber? Like
no, because you got
oil?
asphalt in there, and then so what I
Oil?
well, no, I think, and somebody's going to hang me for this and call me stupid, but I thought they were melting the shingles down to use in asphalt paving work, if I'm not mistaken. So I know that they reuse asphalt, so they'll grind old asphalt and they turn it into a material. I can't remember the name of it, but it's like it's a material that goes in to make the new asphalt. But I think they were trying to supplement some of that with shingles. So they I don't know if they burn the fiberglass out. I don't know how they do. I have no idea. But I do know that there's absolutely Owens Corning. I think is actually one of the big pushers on this recycling of shingles.
Yeah.
I get email newsletters from them every once in a while because we are still certified with Owens Corning, and they send me stuff about recycling. So they're working hard to get that going. I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, always got to keep repaving the roads. Um,
Right.
so that's got to come from somewhere, I guess. And then asphalt, I mean, asphalt originally a product of oil, right? So
Correct. Correct.
yeah,
And that's why I caught all that heat on the oil video about oil prices driving shingle prices, because that's what we used to get told, 5 years ago, that because oil was going up or whatever it was. I don't want to give a timeline to it.
oh,
Anyway, when oil prices were climbing, shingle prices were climbing. Well, when oil prices dropped, shingles didn't drop, so it made no sense. And that's why I was, you know, curious, and still am curious. I just got another increase. It comes active maybe today, maybe the first. I think it's today. It's like, what the hell are we still getting increases for? Like, there's the demand's down. Oil isn't like going sky high or anything that I know of. Like nothing's really changing that much in the market, but for some reason we're still going to get I don't know, 3 or 4% increase,
yeah,
and that's a lot. I mean, that's a lot, especially when it happens more than once a year.
yeah,
Used to be you got that baby every January 1. You'd get that 3 to 5%, and that you could bid your jobs all year long on that.
yeah.
Now, I mean, still even with
Got the
inventory,
third this year? Has it been every quarter?
um, so this is only the second for us. There was one not too long ago that ABC ate for me. I made sure to call and let me know that they took one on the chin there, and we're going to eat that one. Um, which they do that for a lot of their contractors. That's another reason I love them. I mean, that they gave me the sheet, GAF, at Owens Corning, all IKO, all of them sent, because everybody does their increases together. They sent me the sheet and they said, hey, just so you know, we're not passing this one on, but don't be surprised if you see one later down this year. So, and sure shit, here it is.
The fact that they all make these price increases at the same time just stinks of price manipulation, of coordination.
It's a monopoly, but not. It's like literally the sheet has every manufacturer on it. The price increases are almost cent for cent, exactly the same. Like you're telling me one person, one company can't be a little more efficient than the other, or can't produce a higher end product that warrants maybe more of an increase. Like there's no difference. They're exactly the same. That's bullshit. One company doesn't. You're telling me Owens Corning and GAF don't buy their raw material at a better price point than say IKO or Pinnacle, or bullshit. They're selling 5 times the amount of product. Surely they're buying at a better price point. But for some reason, their increases are exactly the same. It's crazy.
Just a
And
coincidence.
then unwarranted at best. Like not even warranted. Like, what the hell are you giving me an increase in the middle of summer for? Like, it's not even everybody I hear from market's dead. You know what I mean? So it's not like we should be having inventory issues like we were during COVID. People are
Yeah.
back to work, but nobody's spending money. Why?
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Who knows? I think maybe they have it right. Maybe everybody else, maybe roofing is the only place that's accurately reflecting inflation. Roofing and home prices may be the only things accurately reflecting inflation.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So I will bring up something that's an interesting topic that John and I were talking about the other day. So, and this is somewhat political, not that it needs to be, but it's interesting. It's really interesting. As soon as Joe Biden dropped out of the race, and I don't talk to a lot of roofers, so I'm not saying that this goes across the board, but the people in my tight circle all had the same effect. Literally the day after that guy was out of the race, we sold jobs. We sold more work. I don't know. Did we talk about this at all? Have we talked about this
I've
before?
talked about it with John. I don't know if you and I talked about it, but
Okay. So yeah, we sold a ton of work, and we're still like this is usually a little bit of a stagnant period for us. Not slow usually, but just kind of we sell one here or there. We start burning a little bit of backlog, and then once kids go back to school, sales pick back up. That's that every year. That's how it works where I'm at. When kids get out of school, sales kind of die during the summer. They're a little bit slow. They pick back up as soon as school starts back up because vacations have stopped and whatever. Dead middle of summer, the last 2 weeks have been straight fire. I mean, we have sold a ton of work. And I got my one guy in particular sold like $150,000 worth of work in like 4 days. I mean, so what I'm getting to is that's promising to me. That's a really, really promising sign that maybe this economic issue that's going is maybe just a fear-driven issue of where the country's heading. And you know, maybe if we have a different political landscape, maybe our luck will change in home services.
Yeah. Yeah. If people feel like they're more likely to make more money next year than not, then they're more likely to make big purchases.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's confidence.
Yeah. Have a little buyer confidence back would be great.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Already did that one. How do you communicate project timelines to customers once the job is scheduled? What's your typical project timeline, and how do you communicate that to customers?
Everything's automated at that point. All the the sales done. So not that we don't try to keep a personal touch in things. Our automations I feel like are very personable, but you know we're very clear when we sell the job, the timeline that we expect to do the project in. So like right now, my one guy's booking about 4 weeks out, which that's the most he's been out all year. Usually we stay like we like to hover right around 3, but regardless, he's 4 weeks out. So he's telling everybody. I just saw a text today. Someone signed a contract. He let him know that he could get to the project in about 4 weeks, weather depending. So from there on, we've got stages in ProLine for every step until completion. And what they look like is we've got a materials ordered. So as soon as we place the material order with ABC, an automation goes out to that customer, text and email saying, "Hey, Mr. Customer, your materials have been ordered. We'll stay in touch to set up delivery when we get closer to installation time." So if we order the materials the same day that they signed, that's fine. They already know. We just told them that it's 4 weeks until we do the install. Then once we're going to set delivery up, we move them to materials delivered, and it sends an automation out that says, "Hey, Mr. Customer, your materials are going to be delivered tomorrow." I can't remember. I think it's either today or tomorrow. Um, I'll be in touch to set up installation. And I think it even goes as far to say something about we plan on doing the install in the next week or so. I'll be in touch to set up an exact date. And when we always tell our customers we only give a 24-hour notice before installation. That's just part of the sale. We've warned them about that. That's how we do it. Because weather and timing just change everything. So I mean, a little late rain in the morning cancel a roof job, or even say you got it started. Well, now it starts and you still got to go finish it tomorrow because you didn't get a full day in. So it's just too hard. So we just tell everybody, we'll give you the week that we're going to do it in, and then we'll give you a 24-hour notice before we come out. So the 24-hour notice we do, that's not automated. That's a message from the sales rep to let them know that we're coming, because it's essentially the day before. So that's how we handle it.
Yep. Sounds like a good flow. Sounds like a good
Every
flow.
once in a while you get the guy that, says, well, I need to take the day off work to be here when you're here. Can you give me a little bit more of a notice? We tell them no. No, that this is our system. We'll do our best to hit that day that you're wanting off to be there. But there is a very likely chance that it's a day sooner, 2 days later. We just don't know.
That makes sense.
That goes back to not over promising though. Be realistic. And if you don't like it, then hire somebody else that's willing to lie to you and say they can make that happen for you. They're probably full of shit because it's just not realistic. Not when you're running a machine that's pumping 3-4 roofs out a day. Like, and not saying that's a big machine. I couldn't imagine some of these guys that are doing, you know, running 20 crews, and how the hell do you know if you're going to be there 3 weeks from now on Tuesday? There's no way. There's just no way.
Yeah. 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 It's, you got to set good expectations, is what I'm hearing, is the most critical piece.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Makes sense. Tad Doyle asked, what is your workflow from start to finish in your CRM? What are all the stages? That might be a lot to just go over verbally. Is there somewhere that your process is out online right now, Scott?
Yeah, I think it's on ProLine's YouTube.
Oh yeah.
I walked through. It's a longer video. I thought it was like 15 minutes or something, but yeah, there is definitely a video because I did our quotes and then I did our stages in two separate videos.
Yeah. Your co-founder. Let me search Scott. Where would that be?
It's been a bit.
Yeah, it's been a bit. I need to check with James. And make sure that we have that out. I'm not seeing it just when I search your name. But where could someone go to find to kind of connect with you, Scott, and maybe see?
Yeah, just absolutely. I have a website, smalltownroofer.com, or you can email me direct, scott@smalltownroofer.com, and I'd be happy to walk you through ours. So, or if you need me to just do it for you, we do that also.
Cool. Well, maybe we'll just wrap up there.
Sounds
And
good.
yeah, we'll let me just get this updated. But yeah, we'll wrap up there, and we'll see everybody next week.
See ya.